Sunrise, sunrise, looks like morning in your eyes, but the clock's held 9:15 full hours. Sunrise, sunrise, couldn't tempt us if it tried, 'cause the afternoon's already come and gone. And I said, ooh, do you? Surprise, surprise, couldn't find it in your eyes, but I'm sure it's written all over my face. Surprise, surprise, never something I could hide. When I see we made it through another day, then I say, ooh, 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 do you?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Sonder Social. I'm Malika. I'll be leading you through this evening's weekly setup. I'm so excited to have you all join. I feel like we're in a new month, we're in a new year together, and this is my first weekly setup of this year. So I'm very excited to be with you all tonight. I'm dialing in from sunny San Francisco. And I'm joined by the fabulous Katie, who has finally returned back to Scotland. And she is dialing in all the way from Europe. So give her a big hello and shout out. I always love kind of doing a social with her. She'll be answering any questions you might have in the chat. For those of you who are new to Silk and Sonder, huge welcome. I know I see some familiar names, but I also see some new names in the chat. So welcome to Sonder Socials. This is like one of my favorite things to do throughout the week. It's a great way for us to all connect with each other, kind of get some ideas from each other in terms of how we set up these weekly pages, and then kind of try to set ourselves up for success for the remainder of the week. So thank you all for joining. And before we get started, make sure to set your chat to everyone. Sometimes Zoom auto like automatically puts it to hosts and panelists, and that just means Katie and I can see your messages. But chat is the way we primarily interact with each other, so it's really important for all of us to kind of see your messages and feel free to share. And all right, I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and get started. Make sure to grab your journals, something to write with, and we're all ready to go. Okay. So since we have some new folks, I'll walk us through the guidelines. Make sure to be kind and courteous to yourself and others. This is not a place for promotion or spam. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. And any product and accessory questions or customer care inquiries can be sent to hello@silkandsonder.com. And just remember that Sonder socials are a great way for all of us to connect. And as I said earlier, it's a way for us to kind of get the most out of these pages. I think there's a lot of creativity among Sonder family, so it's really exciting to kind of see some examples. Maybe we feel inspired to set it up a little bit differently this week. Remembering that each week we have different things that pop up in our calendars, and just making sure that we are kind of setting up our weekly pages to best serve us for that week. So with that said, Let's talk about prosperity. So when we think of prosperity, I think initially what comes to mind is typically like financial wellness. But prosperity can really be brought into other domains of our life. So when I think of prosperity, I think of abundance. I think of kind of opening our minds up a little bit and thinking about how we can be prosperous in different areas of our lives, and thinking about kind of the abundance of opportunity that is around, and being prosperous and calling that in. So that's kind of how I think of prosperity. I will kind of walk us through it a little bit in our mind map, which will be our interactivity. So let me walk us through kind of the agenda for this evening. We'll do the prosperity mind map, which will be done either on, if you came to a weekly setup last week, find that page that you worked on. If this is your first weekly setup, you can set it up on a blank page. Our rosebud thorn, which will be on page 36, where we'll reflect on kind of a highlight, a low light, and an emerging opportunity. And then we'll finally dive into our weekly setup pages together. Okay, so for the prosperity mind map, the prosperity mind map can either be on a blank page in your journal or a scratch paper nearby. It does not have to be in your journal if you want to do it on a separate page. So basically, we're going to explore the theme of prosperity in different aspects. So each week, just since there's some new folks here, I'll kind of explain what a mind map is. Typically, for our weekly setup socials, we dive into the theme a little bit, and each week we have kind of a focus area. So if you were able to come to last week's, you can kind of pull that mind map for this activity. If you're starting fresh, you can go ahead and screenshot the slide, and maybe write out kind of the week one question if you want to turn back to it after the social and just focus on week two. That's completely fine as well. So for this week, we're going to focus on this question here. So for week two of January, we're going to talk about how does your definition of prosperity align with your current values and goals? Are there any discrepancies? And if so, how might you reconcile them? So, thinking about kind of what is prosperity, I always like to turn to the letter as a frame of reference. But when I think of prosperity, I think of true prosperity is really about living a life that is rich in purpose, joy, and fulfillment. It's about abundance in every form. So whether it be love, health, opportunity, not necessarily just material wealth. So when I think about kind of prosperity and how it feels in my current state and current phase of life, I would kind of think that I'm calling in a lot of abundant opportunities in my career. I just started a new job. It's very fast paced. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of responsibility thrown my way, a lot of challenge. But with that, I feel like there's a lot of prosperity, there's a lot of abundance in terms of career growth, in that regard. So that's kind of how I feel with my career. And then in terms of discrepancies, I was kind of laughing with Katie. We were talking about this before this call, and I think the one area where I feel like I don't feel like there's a lot of abundance is kind of the romantic department. I feel like sometimes you have experiences with people that kind of set you back, and make you feel a little hopeless. But that is just, the reality of, my romantic life, unfortunately. And that's just how it is. But I think what I'm trying to shift that mindset a little bit and really kind of call in more prosperity in all areas. So that is kind of how I broke this down. Sorry for just kind of going on a tangent and just really fully kind of reflecting there, but I always like to share kind of how I took this prompt and give you a little tidbit of how I would answer this. But I'll give you all some time to reflect on this week's question, and we will regroup shortly for the Rosebud Thorn next. All right. Thank you all for kind of sharing in the chat. And I know this one is a little bit difficult to kind of think about. It was hard for me too. If you weren't able to kind of come up with a response, take some time with it. There's no rush. And maybe as you kind of go throughout your week, maybe you'll think about this a little bit more. Sorry. Um, but thank you all for sharing in the chat. We'll now move on to page 36 of our journals, where you'll see the rose, bud, thorn for the end of this week. So go ahead and take some time to turn to page 36. And we'll now kind of walk through rosebud thorn. So I always like to share my personal rosebud thorn for the week, just as a kind of reflection and the way I connect with all of you. And a rose is something that's going well, or a highlight, or something that you're grateful for. A bud is a new and emerging opportunity, something that's new on the horizon. And a thorn is a challenge or something that you've been struggling with. So my rose is, I'm really grateful for kind of my mindset. I think it took a while to heal whenever I get triggered or feel like I have like negative emotions, and before it would take me a long time to kind of get out of that, because I feel things very, very deeply. But I think I'm proud of myself for being able to navigate through it, and kind of being able to kind of pick myself up a little bit faster than I used to. And then my bud is, I am very excited to meet up with my girlfriends in Palm Springs. And it should be a really relaxing weekend. A little bit of work. I'll have to work this weekend, but it will be a beautiful setting, and I'm very excited to connect with all of them. A thorn is work has been very stressful this month since coming back from the holiday break. And I do feel a lot of imposter syndrome, but it is just, part of having a new job. My other thorn, obviously, is something that I didn't write down, but just hearing about all the fires and the devastation in LA. And it's very emotional. I have a lot of friends. I used to live there for 8 years. It's horrifying to know a lot of the communities have been completely destroyed. So obviously that's a big, big thorn. Just I can't even imagine how devastating it is for people. So amongst other natural disasters that are happening all over. So that is something that's obviously weighing on all of us probably pretty heavily, but just something that I've been thinking about in the back of my mind. But yes, it's on page 36, Laura. So we're doing our rosebud thorn on page 36. So I'll give you all some time to fill out your rose, your bud, and your thorn, and feel free to share in the chat what your rosebud thorn is for this week. All right. Thank you all for sharing your rosebud thorn. I think it's really fun to kind of read through your rosebud thorn because it's a good way to get a glimpse in your lives. And while the thorns may be challenging, maybe we can figure out how we can give ourselves a little bit more love and care to get us through those challenges. So thank you all so much for sharing and being so vulnerable in the chat. We'll now turn to page 40 for the weekly setup. I'm sorry, there's like garbage trucks right outside. So if you hear that, I apologize. So we'll turn to page 40 for the weekly setup. So we're gonna start off with that box at the very top of page 40. And it is this week I want to feel. So think about kind of how you want to feel this week. Is there anything that wasn't serving you last week that you want to feel this week? Do you have a lot of stuff happening? Is there a lot of challenges coming through? What is that word for you? And then here are some inspirational words in case you can't think of one. And then, of course, type in the chat as you kind of write it down. Let's see. I see strong, effective, helpful, focused, at peace. Let's see. Melody, lighter, motivated, encouraged this week, stable, in control, happy, that life is good, all caps, grounded, healed, motivated, fulfilled, soothed, focused, prepared, capable, resilient, calm, and relaxed. Oh my gosh, this chat is just going at it. But thank you all. These are all really, really powerful words. I love the word resilient, calm, hopeful, peace-filled, empowered, consistent, productive, confident, focused and energized, radiate. I love it. These are all such incredible words, so powerful. Thank you all for sharing in the chat what your intention is of how you want to feel. We'll now move on to the weekly major three goals. So for the weekly major three goals, you can either craft your goals in a way that kind of directly correlate to how you want to feel, or you can kind of figure out any top three goals that you want to accomplish this week. So it doesn't have to be related to how you want to feel. It can just be any three goals, but you can also craft it in a way that it's kind of supporting how you want to feel. So for your weekly major three goals, you can think about kind of maybe you want a personal challenge for the week. Maybe there's a goal that you weren't able to do last week that you want to do this week. And you can kind of carry that over. Really think about kind of what those three goals are. So I'll give you all some time to craft out your major three goals, and then we'll move on to the to-do section next. right. Thank you all for sharing your three goals in the chat. We have a lot of exciting goals to accomplish. I don't know about you, but when I think about kind of 2025, I like made a whole goal list and I just went a little too crazy this year because I feel like they weren't tactical enough. So I think doing these each week actually helped me with crafting my yearly goals. So that is one benefit of filling this section out every week. All right, so now we'll move on to the weekly to-do section. So that is just the box to the left. And of course, this can be a bulleted list of to-dos, which is oftentimes how I set this up, but there are a lot of other ways that you can set this up. So I'll kind of walk you through the different ways you can set this up. So this is the Eisenhower matrix. This really identifies us how we can kind of figure out what's important and what's urgent. And then we can kind of also identify what we need to remove. So what is not urgent, what is not important, what is something we can delete that's going to hinder our productivity for the week. So for me, that's usually binge watching a show or scrolling on TikTok. So those are my two things that I always put in this section if I set it up as an Eisenhower matrix. So that is an option if you'd like to kind of prioritize your to-do list a little bit and add some structure around it. There's also the physical, this example on the right is great. Like maybe you want to focus on kind of like a physical, mental, and emotional to do. So you can put that. You can also set it up as a need, want, hope to-do list. So this is a great way to, especially as we're kind of starting the year a little bit, thinking about kind of what are those like wishes and those dreams, what are those wants, and then what are those needs. So thinking about kind of what are some things that you want to get done? What are things that you actually need to get done? And then you can kind of prioritize it that way. I like this option of what not to do, kind of it's similar to what I talked about with that delete section in the Eisenhower matrix. What are things that you shouldn't do this week that's not going to serve you? So you can always craft it that way. You can also use it as like a bingo board. Maybe you have a ton of things you need to do, but you want to make it more fun to kind of cross off. So you can set it up as a bingo board. Maybe you can add a sticker as you get things done or cross it off with the marker. That's a great way to do it. And then I also like this option where you categorize your to-dos. So I actually do this probably most weeks. So I do have a bulleted or checkbox list, but I do kind of have it categorized based on like personal, work, social, those types of like different areas of my life, and setting it up in that way to help categorize it a little bit. So that is some options for you of how you can set up this section. I'll give you all some time to set up your to-dos, and we'll move on to the habit and activity section next. All right. Thank you all for sharing kind of your to-dos or how you're gonna set this up. I think there's so many fun ways to set this up, but obviously to-dos are very personal. We have lots of busy things that we need to get done, so it's a good way to kind of have it all on paper and kind of top of mind. All right, so we'll now move on to the habit and activity tracker. So this is a little bit different than your monthly tracker. You can, of course, use those habits and put them on this page, but you can also track different habits if you'd like. So here are some great ways to set this up. The example at the top is almost like a nighttime routine. So thinking about kind of what things do you want to get done before you go to bed? Maybe it's a way to unwind. It's a way to kind of almost like the closing shift of your life for that day, and kind of setting yourself up for each evening. So that's a great way to set that up. You can also use this section as kind of like your physical health goals. So I love this example in the middle here where they didn't just cross it off, but they also wrote in some metrics and wrote in some numbers. So they're trying to, capture trends in their weight fluctuations. They're color coding it based on whether it went up or down or stayed the same, and also adding in numbers. Also kind of identifying their fruit and veggie intake, and all of that information. So it's not just kind of crossing off. And then here you see on the bottom, just like my example is on the bottom right, but you can really just kind of set up this habit tracker. Sometimes I copy over goals and habits from the last week that I really liked, that I want to carry forward. Or if I feel like I didn't get enough sleep or I didn't get enough rest, adding that to my habit tracker, making sure that's important for this week. So it's really all about kind of what you want to prioritize for the week, which habits you want to kind of start tracking. And just remember, you can always set a goal. You don't have to set a goal. You can see some examples here don't have goals, and some do. And also keep in mind that, even if we don't fill out every single circle, that's okay. It's not about kind of achieving perfection. It's really giving yourself grace. There's a lot of unexpected things that get thrown our way. So it's okay if you didn't, exercise, do like a hard workout for 40 minutes. There are ways we can also give ourselves some grace. A lot of things come up in life. So just keeping that in mind as we go throughout our week. So I'll give you all some time to fill out your habit and activity tracker, and then we'll regroup for the meal plan. All right. Thanks for kind of sharing your habits that you're going to track this week. I think it's great to kind of identify what you want to prioritize. I know for this week, last week I had go to bed at 9, and this week I have go to bed at 9:30 because 9 is just a little too early for me. So those are a few of my habits that I'm tracking. We'll now move on to the meal plan section. So keep in mind, the next few sections that I'm going to walk you through are heavily, heavily repurposed. So I'll walk you through the meal plan section first, then I'll walk you through mind, body, health plan and shopping list. But these are kind of sections that heavily get repurposed. So you can, of course, use this as a meal plan section if you would like to, or a food log, whatever it may be. You can also use this in a variety of different ways. Here you see examples of folks who use it for the 7 types of rest, a place where they can put daily affirmations, a place where they can kind of clean, like say you have to clean the whole house and they want to break it down zone by zone. Or you can use this as like a wardrobe tracker. You can use this as an appointment tracker. You can use this as like a reflection, like section, whatever it may be, that you would like to kind of set this up as. It's really up to you. So I'll give you all some time to kind of think about how you want to set up your meal plan section. You don't have to set it up, like anything food related. As you can tell, a lot of people do it in different ways. So if feel free to also type in the chat if how you set this section up. I'd love to kind of hear how you guys use this section. And we'll regroup for the mind, body, health plan and shopping list next. All right. Thank you all for sharing how you're setting up this meal plan section. It sounds like we have a lot of chefs in the group. So thank you all for kind of sharing what dishes you're making tonight. Now I'm hungry and I wish I could eat your food. But now we'll move on to the Mind Body Health Plan. So I like to take this section as your like treat for yourself each day. So, thinking about kind of what is that you can kind of provide yourself that's going to kind of get you through some challenging moments as it comes up throughout your day. So, I typically used to put like all my workouts in this section, but now I'm kind of making it a little bit more like, holistic, where it's not just physical health, but also kind of mental health and emotional health, and just making sure that I have something that I can turn to each day as a little treat for myself. So, here are some great examples that are on the screen. I love the one in the top left. I've actually used that a couple weeks ago, and it was great. Where you kind of have something that maps to like Motivation Monday, Talk It Out Tuesday, Walking Wednesday, Thoughtful Thursday, Frustration Free Friday, Sassy Saturday, and Self Care Sunday, which is today. So that's always a great way to do it. You can also kind of call upon the 7 types of rest, which are social, spiritual, mental, creative, emotional, sensory, and physical. You can also kind of ask yourself like a journaling question. I like that option where you have like a quick little self check-in or like journal prompts to help you think about something. So you have a different question for each day. So there's so many different ways to set up your mind body health plan. So feel free to kind of take these as inspiration. But if you have anything that's working well for you, go ahead and do that. And then I'll also walk you through the shopping list section so you can work on both of these. And the shopping list section is truly a blank box. Oftentimes, this is the section that gets repurposed the most, because oftentimes we don't need to go shopping. I think the holidays have kind of won, like they're all over at this point. So now it's all about kind of other things that are top of mind. But like for example, I'm going on a weekend trip, so I'll probably use this as like my packing list section. But here you can see some options where you can use a quote, you can put some inspirational quotes, you can turn this into a bingo board. You can kind of identify some more intentions that you have for the week. I like this option of almost like using a calmness scale where you're identifying how calm you are each day. I love these options that Jennifer's sharing in the chat, a weekly book tracker. I definitely keep buying books and I read, but sometimes there are days I go without reading, and then on the weekends I like to read a lot. So, definitely a great way to kind of track your progress. So, definitely feel free to use the section as you see fit. I will give you all some time to work on your mind body health plan and your shopping list, and then we'll regroup together for the I am loving section next. Oops. Okay, let's do that. All right. Thank you all for sharing kind of how you set up your mind body health plan and your shopping list. We're nearing the end of our hour, which is crazy. This hour always flies by. I wanted to take a second and just thank you all for being so vulnerable in the chat. It is truly your vulnerability and your willingness to share that makes this community so special. And I always just enjoy kind of checking in with all of you on in these Sonder socials and just kind of making sure you have the love and support that you need to get you through those challenging moments. So thank you all so much for sharing. And we'll now move on to that last little section, the I am loving section. So maybe close your eyes for a second to really help visualize and identify what you're truly loving in your life. Think about what that is. I know we started off with kind of talking about prosperity. Then we kind of dove into our rosebud thorn and we identified our rose from the past week. What is something you're currently loving now? Is it that rose? Is it something else? Think about what that is for you. Is it starting a new year, a fresh chapter? What is that what are you currently loving? I know I'm currently loving the weather we're having in San Francisco is so abnormal for January, and it's been extremely clear skies and sunny, and I feel like I am really enjoying kind of this change of pace, and it really makes me feel a lot more positive in the mornings. So there's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot that is going well. So once you kind of write that down, share with us in the chat. And yes, I think it's and Sonder fam is usually my go-to. So, yes, I also love kind of checking in with you all, and leading these socials is always so fun for me. So, thank you all so much for sharing throughout the social. I know the chat goes by so fast, so thank you. And make sure to share your weekly planner pages with us in Sonder Club. Make sure to download the app. That's how we communicate outside of these socials. And we love to see your pages. As you saw, a lot of these examples are pulled from all of you. So make sure to share with us if there was something that you tried that you want to share in amongst the group. Go ahead and post that. There's an inspiration section too, so it categorizes it based on the section. So you can definitely do that. And then also we have this really cool product called it's an AI coach, and it's a personalized coaching plan that basically helps identify how you feel stuck and unblocks you. It's really per your convenience. It's a great way to kind of connect with somebody as a life coach and really get a lot of answers. So it sounds like a lot of folks have already tried it, and I think it's been a great help for me. And it can also help you out with some journaling pages. So take a peek at that. Katie's dropping in links. So I just wanted to say thank you all so much for spending this hour with me and Katie. We really enjoyed having you all, and thank you all so much. And I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you at my next social. Bye, everybody.
All it takes is one flight. We'd be in the same time zone. Looking through your timeline, seeing all the rainbows. I got an idea, and I know that it sounds crazy. I just wanna see you. Oh, I gotta ask, do you got plans tonight? I'm a couple 100 miles from Japan, and I was thinking I could fly to your hotel tonight. 'Cause I can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. I can feel the tension. We could cut it with a knife. I know it's more than just a friendship. I can hear you thinking right, yeah. Do I gotta convince you that you shouldn't fall asleep? It'll only be a couple hours and I'm about to leave. Do you got plans tonight? I'm a couple 100 miles from Japan and I was thinking I could fly to your hotel tonight. 'Cause I can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. Do you got plans tonight? I was hoping I could get lost in your paradise. The only thing I'm thinking about is you and I. 'Cause I can't get you off my mind. Can't get you off my mind. I can't seem to get you off my mind.
Let's get lost tonight. Let's get lost tonight. Baby, you and
I can't seem to get you off my mind.
let's get lost tonight. Let's get lost tonight. Baby, you and
I can't seem to get you off my mind. Do you got plans tonight? I'm a couple 100 miles from Japan and I was thinking I could fly to your hotel tonight. 'Cause I can't get you off my mind. I can't get you off my mind. Do you got plans tonight, baby? I was hoping I could get